The thing is, was when truth is spoken and truth is heard, you're going to have a lot of people that, because they have anger towards the deception towards them, they will want to project that onto you, me, and other people, and that's completely fine. But understand this: when you die and you leave this place, you will see it all again. You will see every single thing, the creation of this, and who we are. And that is an event that every soul will see regardless. And so you have the opportunity to see it now through people that share information, to open yourself to the truth or not. But at some point you will see it and you're going to
And
see everything. But for those that are unfamiliar with the stuff that I do controlled out of body states. And essentially what this is it's no different from a near death. And this, I've seen a lot of things, observed things in real time, and this is where I get my information. Since a child, I've been coming out of my body, and from a child, then I was getting afraid of the out of body state. So essentially, what happened was when you're coming out of your body, you're forced to see things, and as a child, sometimes that puts you into fear, and that shut it down because fear is the number one way to shut off your abilities. It shuts off everything, even from the most physical aspect. When you're here, they put you in survival mode, and that shuts off a massive portion of your brain. I remember at 12 years old, I was giving my mother an example. I said, you know that you're a slave. We're all slave, because I was breaking down the living man and woman, and how this is a, dead corporation, dead entities, and putting us in that type of system. I said, you're afraid right now of losing things. And I said, you're controlled. That makes you a slave. And and I gave her an example. I said, for instance, because she was wearing a jacket, I said, if you were afraid to lose that jacket, and that jacket that you were wearing meant everything to you, and someone instilled fear into you saying, well, if you don't do this or do that, then I will take that jacket from you. Therefore, you would end up doing those things out of fear. And I said, so fear is the number one way to control you. And right now you're being controlled in every aspect of your life. And so that was from 12 years old that I was, doing these things and explaining these things. So 16 years old, you could say that was the catalyst as well to where I'm at, because at 16 years old is when I was shown how things play out. And I didn't understand it at the time, how certain paths would lead to certain directions. But yeah, it's everything has lined up perfectly to what I was shown at 16 years old, even to everything where I'm at now. And I've been having out of body experiences pretty much my entire life, every single week to not every single day, and then pushing it off depending on my central nervous system. Certain things I couldn't articulate at that time and I couldn't put into words. And now, through many out of body experiences, lining a lot of things up and also being told a lot of things, the disclosure on many fronts is a lot sooner than what people realize. Even the UAP stuff that's going on now, a lot of those are military craft. Yeah. But some of those with the stars are actually what you would call your original angels coming, because they're using their bodies, their true form, to traverse the entirety of the construct, just like our bodies were originally designed to do that. When you leave your body, understand that your body is the illusion. Your soul is you, who you are, and you can never control and entrap a soul unless it believes it to be so. And so your soul will is what creates everything around you. Your will, your spoken word will create realms and constructs, and that's what we've been doing since the beginning, the very beginning of all of this. And because that's who we are as souls. So there's nothing that your soul, that no one could touch your soul essentially. Yeah. And so when you come out of your body, what you're going to see is you're going to see your physical body and have that immediate understanding that that is not you, and that what you are in is the true state. And it's interesting too, because your soul has a imprint of the physical body, because we're not necessarily created in the image of God, but we are created in the image of the soul, our perfected versions of our soul. Yeah. And this is why you'll find all throughout history, a lot of people look the same. All throughout history, they look the same. People that have come back here, or even on the other side.
mm,
Because even though they could change the way they look and change the way that they want to look with a thought, there is a perfected state, you could say, that you choose, that you self manifest yourself a lot of the time. And so when you are stepping back into your soul, you're stepping back into the perfection of you. There's no suffering in that way. You don't age. You can't kill it. It's the eternal aspect of you. And this is what I was telling you before, that everybody's returning back to this. There's not one person here that's not going to figure this out. Now, it could take them to their death in their deathbed until they question that basic thing. And then they start to realize it. But at that point, sometimes, you have a lot of regret. And the regrettable is the unforgettable on the other side.
When Darius says the regrettable is the unforgettable on the other side, he means that once we return to the other side, we remember the pain we caused others through words and actions, not just the events, but how it made them feel. And that regret sticks with us. Even though others will forgive you, you still carry the weight of what you did.
Just like the unforgivable sin is a sin that you can't forgive yourself for, because once you're there, you are the ultimate judger of yourself. And so the things that you do here matter. Everything that you do here matters to, not that someone's going to judge you, but it matters for you. And that's very important, because once you start understanding this, and that this particular construct that we're in, this universe, is the center of creation of itself, that means that you are intelligently designed and there's a purpose for you. And when you realize this, you will start walking in integrity, in the true state of love, to the best of your ability to share a message and improve everything around you. And they want to put you in fear. They want to instill fear in you, instill stress in you, because they want to shut off your abilities. All these do is shut off your abilities. It's even proven when you're in stress, it kills the body, versus love, it does not. But people are underneath the wrong misconception of love. They think love is passive. It's a passive state. But it's the very frequency and the very essence of what creates everything around you. It's actually more of a very active force, and a weapon too. Can be turned into a weapon if you choose to. Your heart does carry, quite literally carries the energy of the sun. So you could say that because these bodies, we have 13 helix DNA strand, 2 now, but you'll find even when people come out of their body, they have a new strand activated or something more activated. They could see more of the light spectrum. Scientifically, they measure 13-dimensional structures in the brain, and your heart is literally connecting to all of the stargates, which are suns. You could say through the 12 realms, 13 realms, we have 12 or 13 suns, or 12 or 13 heavens. And your heart, acting as a toroidal field, has access to this as well. It holds the same potential and same capacity, because the sun is in a gassy ball in space. The sun is literally just bridging light. It's just creating light through bridging the multiple, we could say, heavens above in the multiple dimensions. And it's birthing that light into creation, no different from us. We are the creators of light. And it's not until you think of something, you start birthing light into creation. So everything, the power within us is immense, man. Because even when you're there too, on the other side, everything is instant. So when you think of something, it's instantly there for you, because there's no limitation on your soul. And you can't have ultimate expression of freedom with a limitation. And so your soul is not limited. What we're experiencing here, you could say the freezing of time, in a sense. I mean, I could probably use a better word, but I could probably use a better word than that. But your time is not linear. It's past, present, and potential futures. And you could say that we are stuck in time. And so therefore, what happens when you're stuck in time is what you think of. So what you think of automatically it's in the field, it's in the ether, it's in the energetic field. And it's already self-creating itself. And you could see this when you're out of your body. So as soon as you come out of your body, you could see the thoughts that you had instantly in front of you. And thoughts and time are actually very close together, because the more that you think of something, the more that you have focus on something, it creates that potential time event that you could quite literally view in the out of body state. But because people aren't aware that time is not just a linear thing, they think of something once, they think of something twice, and then they sort of forget about it and let their subconscious belief systems override those things. And so you put something out there into your field, but then you have doubts about those things. So therefore, because of the will of your soul, will create those as well. And I also know the limitations at play here too. So to give that context as well. Yeah, so Celeste, that was at 16 years old, and I've still had many contact with her through the years. that was the Celeste experience was the pivoting point of everything for me. Because at 16, you need to realize that, I was awake to the nature of this place, but it wasn't necessarily shut down. It was very strong. I would even say to myself, this is the last time that I'm here. This is the last time. I'm not returning back here. From that, I remember screaming that into the pellet because I knew certain things. So at 16, knowing so many things, it was I said, okay, I want to know the mission. I want to know the purpose. Otherwise, if I don't know these things and I have all this information, then my time is better suited on the other side and not here. And so I gave an ultimatum, you could say, at that time in my life. And so that's when I was showing everything, you could say, but I couldn't articulate it. I was showing the construct for the first time. I was showing how time works for the first time. I was showing my who I am, just because everybody is showing who they are, their origin, their spark, their soul. Um, I was showing the future of this place. You could say the end to all suffering throughout this entirety of this realm, the reopening of it again. You could say the 12 heavens. And so Celeste has been a very important person in my life. And it's not a guide. It's just someone that I've known for a very long time on the other side. Yeah. You could say people come down here so people come down here. Let's just say soul families come down here into this realm, but not all of them come with you because you still have some people on the other side working with you. And if you're attuned to it and you're accustomed to it, you could tune into this and you could feel it. And so, because there's a lot of people have such a big mission to do, and they've forsaken that mission because they've shut off their connection to the other side. They think that that is not real, and they're so hyper focused here. When you remember your true home, everything starts to come within you again. That's just not airy fairy or fluffy. It literally does because you remember. Well, if that's where I return to, then what is the point of me coming here? Why did I leave my station? You could say in the heavens, because we all come from, even from outside of this construct, our true nature. Why do we leave our stations to come here? There's a reason for that. And when you realize that reason and you question that reason, then you could start stepping into, well, why, what are you supposed to do? And you'll find when people ask those basic questions, which is probably only asked when they die, and you could see it when you leave your body too, because it's instant, but it's very unfortunate because then people waste a lot of potential of that message that they could have shared because there's more at stake here than what people realize. There's more playing out than what people realize. There's more involved than what people realize, even from the other side, to assist in this. You could say this thing as well. Why is there such a front of assistance? And as I said before, you can never control and entrap a soul unless it believes it to be so. So what if there was a control structure here lying to the people about the very place that you live on? And if they lie about that and they know the power of your soul and the will of your soul, well, if they could convince you that you are in prison, so therefore it will be so. And so you've had a lot of souls here, you could say, in a perpetual loop of that due to their belief in their will, because you can never stop a soul, no matter what it wills, no matter what it desires to create. You can never stop that creation in the will of that soul because you cannot have ultimate expression of freedom with a limitation, and no soul is limited. And so souls here has been programmed, you could say, or believed in a false belief. And this is why there's so much more things going on than what people actually realize. And, it's that's important.
Would are the genuine souls all essentially good, or are there evil souls? Or do
It's
souls
not
get lost?
necessary.
They get lost in the programming and become, and that's what we
Yeah.
call evil. So the bare soul, without any of the nonsense, you could say are good, if you want to
Yes.
boil it down to one word. That there's a lot of depression, and depression leads to drug abuse and all sorts of stuff. And
Well, yeah, it's more of you lost, the soul loses its will. Yeah. Yeah. No, the soul loses its will. And when a soul loses its will, it also loses its power. It's, hope, power, will,
Okay.
knowledge. Yeah. So that's what happens. I mean, even when because you can never be cut off from your soul. That's impossible. But you can lower the soul's field in a sense, or transition it, or make it believe, or step out of love. And when it does that, then it turns into what people call a demonish expressing of the opposite of love. And so, yeah, you have a lot of people here that are that. And a lot of people are not in the awareness of that which they're doing. And you have a lot of people that are completely aware of the lies and deceptions and everything that they're doing as well, you know, because they've fallen so far away from their state. You could say, you could say they feel they can't go back to, I'll just say in terms for it's easy to understand, they can't go back to heaven, but they can. No, no, you can't have unconditional love with the judgment. And so,
Right.
so when people think of the construct or the universe, what I talk about when I say we live within a created construct, replace the word construct for those that need to say universe with the universe. It's the same thing. It's just different terminology. When people think of the planet or a ball spinning in space, it's not like that. It's actually like this. So what we have is, as I've observed this many times, and I also want to say as well, you could see me zooming in, yes?
I can. I just don't fully understand what I'm seeing.
Okay, yeah, yeah, no, I'll break it down. As long as you could see my mouse and me
Yep,
zooming in, then I'll
100%.
break it
Yep.
down. Okay. So when people think of space and things like that, in my first time also seeing this from the other side, I didn't believe that which what I was seeing, like because I thought, okay, this has to be a ball, a space, a planet. But no. So what you see here is this. If you follow my mouse, this is what they call the firmament, the water above. The water's above. You could
Okay.
say people here are looking from the other side inside of this God's creation, the firmament, this construct. And down here is a flat plane. And you could say this construct does have corners to it, four corners, which are the fixed and immovable pillars of this earthly realm. And when you look at also a lot of the numbers as well, you'll see even in the text it says that this earthly realm has four corners to it, and those are the four pillars. You could say. Now, even down here, when you're on the other side, you could say there's many other constructs, and I view them similar to this, where I was walking around viewing them as open fish bowls on the floor, like literally. Imagine if you're a soul, like this guy on the other side. See that guy?
Yep.
Yeah. So you're a soul on the other side, completely outside of all constructs. You're on the true state of home, where your soul creates constructs or creates realms and creates universes to have an experience. So that's what you're seeing here from that point of view, God's point of view, where then you see these multitude of different constructs, different existence, different universes, all created by the will of each individual soul to have whatever experience that they desire, ultimate expression of true freedom, experiencing whatever it is that you want. And so this construct looks like this. Okay. And then even when you go into this image here, this was just another one that I put together to try to
These people we
get
see are
people,
on the other side. They're looking into
yes,
the construct. Okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So these are people from the other side looking into this construct creation. And when you look into it, let's just say this is the firmament, the container of all of the 12 heavens. Yeah. So this is the firmament, the container of all the heavens. And you could say, let's just call this God to let people follow along. But, we all are gods and we all are souls viewing this from the other side too. And you could say, when you look within this, you could see all of the different heavens within this singular construct. And this is where I put this image here, what you could see here. This image, which was basically trying to break down that we are within the first heaven. You could say realm one. And there are firmaments and layers to this where you access your second heaven, your third heaven, your fourth heaven, etc. Yeah. Does
Okay.
that make sense so far?
Yeah.
Okay. And this is what when people and I also want to say this as well. Every near-death experiencer does actually see this, because this is what when I first viewed this as the balls or the many different constructs stacked on God's shelves, just due to my stuff that I believed in, I viewed it as this before, like a ball. That's how I seen it, and it is a ball. That is true. But the more that you target this, the more that you see this, you see that it actually is just the firmament, the water separated from the waters above. And this is the lie. This is the truth. Even when you look up certain things about the nature of this place, too, you'll see that they have this as like just one flat plane spinning in space. Nothing like that. Space is not space. It's not a vacuum. Actually, space is what you would consider water, because water are part of the Stargate portals as well. But if you have a question, so that I'm not just rambling on,
Yeah,
if you have a
I'll
question
throw,
about this
I'll throw
and
one
this,
question in. Well,
okay,
it's about what you said. You said we're all gods, but then you also say that God. So
yeah, now, okay.
this,
So the reason why I say that, the only reason I say that, is for people based on where they are. It's hard for people to realize that you right now in this physical form, your soul is a eternal being and is God as well. Each individual soul is God. So for the context of explaining the creation of this, I use a singular being so people could follow more easier. Not necessarily that that's true, because there's actually 13 or 12, you could say. But just for the context of simplicity, that's why I
okay,
just use
got it,
God created it.
got it.
Yeah. Otherwise, sometimes people get confused. And even though I state, there's more than one, and we all are it, etc., it's
I
easier to
got it.
follow that way.
All right,
Yeah.
beautiful.
And you know this image too, Dave. And like I just want to say as well, for like the many times that I've already stated this, this was not a thing for me. I was not a believer in the firmaments, the waters above, the creation of this place, like every single ancient civilization has known. And by the way, all these civilizations, these ancient civilizations, weren't in different time periods. They were all the same time period.
Hmm.
So I believed in this. I believed in this stuff, the NASA stuff, which when you look into the Hebrew text of it, or the Greek, I believe, it actually stands for deception. And so it's actually, you're actually, when you follow this path of what they've laid out for you, for even religious people, you're actually following the path of what you consider the opposite of God or Satan. Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. I have a question.
Yeah.
So, in this realm that we're in right now, in this creation, this construct
Mm.
that we're physically experiencing now, you're in Australia, I'm in the United States. There is a lot of deception hiding us from reality. Is that just
Yes.
because somebody created it like that to have this experience, or was it hijacked?
So, yes, this was created to experience that which we are not. That's what I was shown, because let me just go up to this so you could understand. So, this construct was created to experience that which we are not on the other side, but not forever. It was supposed to be a gradual process where you come in here, you forget who you are, and then you slowly remember that we are all gods, and then you jump back into your soul, which is the creation of everything. I mean, your heart, not your soul. You jump back into your heart, which is the creation of everything, and you gradually fall back in love with self in the true meaning of love. And then this becomes the heaven or the Garden of Eden on earth again. That's how it was supposed to be. But you could say, yes, from that also a forgetfulness in coming in here. There are souls that have also come in here as well, in the know, falling so far out of love. Well, yes, they have loop time. They have loop things. Yeah, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're stuck. And when I say that, people go into a fear-based narrative saying, well, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck here, I'm stuck here. You can never be entrapped or imprisoned unless you believe it to be so. And if you listen to what I said in the beginning, your mere belief in that being so would therefore create it to be so, because you are the ultimate authority in all creation, just like every other soul. But you're just unaware of that, and you are convinced otherwise. Therefore, you are underneath the control of another soul's will, not yours. And this was just a short little video that I put together on it as well, to show you from God's point of view. Yeah. when you're looking at it from the other side, how you could look into this construct and see the firmament, see the creation, see the heavens, and see these places as well, pop into them. You could say, let's just pause it there. You could say, this is another form of heaven within the entirety of this construct. I say we have 12 heavens, the 13th being the container. You could say the firmament encasing all heavens. Yeah. So could be one heaven, as you click play here and go through. That's God creating one heaven within this construct. Yeah. That's another heaven. Total of 12 of them in the entirety of this construct.
This
Yeah, so it's so I use it's a long process to get it right, but you could say sketching certain things and putting it through certain software to try to enhance it. AI now,
All right, I got
to
it.
try to enhance the images, and yeah. And this is what I was talking about before, the corners, the pillars of this very construct that we're in. And I'm not religious, but I'll tell you this, that what's written about in the Bible, not all of it, but there is truth there. Yeah. But it's been a lot of the history has been so rewritten and distorted that the truth is based off one of fear and not understanding the full, it's just all controlling of the soul, even that. And they've done this even inside of it's not just Christianity. They've done this in a lot of the texts and within, let's just say, Buddhism and et cetera, where they think that they need to worship something else. But I won't necessarily get too much into that. But the point is that it is definitely fixed in all of the celestial bodies. Everything is contained within the entirety of this construct. This is where you get the kingdoms in heaven, the certain kingdoms of certain races. Okay. This is another image put together too, where I was saying that when you go to this image here, when you zoom in, how you could see all of the different constructs, like I was telling you before. Well,
Yep.
this was another one to articulate it. And actually, this is actually very similar to what the fifth heaven looks like. So, we have the first heaven, which is the earthly realm, and then you go up to the fifth heaven. It's actually very cathedral like as the fifth heaven. And this was me being shown the many different constructs all throughout creation that souls create, we create, or many different versions as well. And that was just me seeing the many different experiences. And you could say when you are out on the other side as a soul, you understand this. The other side, and it needs to be understood very clearly, is your true home. This is your true state. It is what you will return back to, and every soul's returning back to. And when you return back to that place, you essentially have the ultimate authority to experience everything that you possibly could imagine. The only thing that you will not be able to experience is if you cannot imagine it to be so. That's where you come from. That is your home. That is your station, you could say, in the heavens.
Darius explains that within this earthly construct, there exist 12 heavens or realms, flat planes stacked one atop another, forming a layered cosmic structure.
This one was not created by me. This is something that I found somewhere, just to give people an understanding too that there's 12 heavens. So you could say, let's just say the first heaven is down here, second, third, etc. So it's another way to view it, the planes. You could also say as well, this is another way to view it. Yeah, because it actually is sort of like this too, how you have the heaven, the earthly heaven, and the waters above separated from the waters, and you have the other different stations in heaven
When
throughout
you
this.
say we have 13 heavens, what level are we on? What is this earthly level?
It's the what I consider, what I used to call realm one, and that's not necessarily that it's wrong. I just changed the word to the first heaven because it's actually, with information and more that I've been gathering, there actually are considered the 12 heavens. But if you go back into originally the things that I talk about, I would just call this realm one, the earthly realm, and then realm two was the celestial bodies of galactic heaven. This is, and then
Okay.
you get yeah, but they're basically 12 heavens. And this is why I said the more that I access this information, it's just like, okay, well, why is it that a lot of the things in the old texts are actually so true, you know? And it's quite amazing, when you look at it. And, all of the stars are actually just, like I said, stars are actually parts of portal access points. And what is water? Water holds information. It's also part of what space is, portal access points. And the ancient civilizations have known about this. This is why they've created these structures based off how the stars' frequencies were actually the stars' frequencies, the hertz. Because when you can mimic certain stars and frequencies, the hertz of those, you could bring that into the physical body as well. And this is where you get the healing of certain things within the body, etc., through these certain frequencies, which is also demonstrated through the plate experiment in sand.
The plate experiment shows how sound and vibration can shape matter. When a metal plate is vibrated, sand on it moves into beautiful geometric patterns. It proves that frequency isn't just something we hear, it's something that forms and organizes the physical world.
Which is exactly this. And the all the ancient civilizations have known this too. This is where you even get it here, because they've mapped out the certain frequencies and everything that will help the entirety of this, you could say, the body and certain things too, because even they have technology too that disrupt this. They put it through music, and it disrupts the natural flow of your cells expressing themselves in the way that they should be expressing themselves, and it's slightly off resonance.
The natural harmonics of Earth resonate at 432 Hz, a frequency that aligns with the rhythms of nature, the heartbeat of life itself. 432 Hz is said to promote healing, inner peace, and connection to the universe. It's what music should have been tuned to, a symphony with the cosmos. But they changed it. In 1953, they set a new global standard, 440 Hz, a subtle shift, just enough to make a world of difference. At 440 Hz, the music and sounds we consume are slightly dissonant with our natural frequencies. It agitates the mind, stresses the body, subtly eroding mental health, emotional balance, and spiritual clarity. And almost no one questioned it.
And because it's slightly off resonance, you get a lot of the distortions happening and manifesting within the body. No different than stress is a distortion, you could say, from love, because stress in and of itself will distort your frequency, your electromagnetic field of your body, so much so that it will actually kill you. That's not going to happen with love. I think this one is just another generated video too, to show you the other side of where you come from. And this is, I want to make this clear. This is where we all come from. We're going to return back to it, and you have the ability right now to see it as well. And if you choose to, return back to it. But I'm not giving people a ticket to suicide, and I don't endorse that at all. But there is a point of no return with this, just like there's a point of no return with every near-death experience.
Darius explains that many souls, during an out-of-body experience or an NDE, near-death experience, are offered the choice to stay on the other side. This doesn't mean he is endorsing the idea of leaving the physical world. It's simply a truth he feels must be shared. Sometimes when a soul steps outside of the human body, the presence on the other side asks if they want to remain there. It's an invitation, not a command. A moment of choice where some realize their journey on Earth isn't finished yet, and others feel the pull to return home. Darius shares this not to persuade, but to awaken a deeper understanding of the soul's freedom and the unseen conversations happening beyond the veil.
When you leave the body, understand this, that the will of your soul, when you are in that, nothing could stop you from what you want to do. The only thing that's ever going to stop you is you from accessing information once you're out of your body and suppressing your ability and suppressing that which you could access as well. Even when you go into, you know, what is space? How come all of the civilizations have known this? Why? Why is all this here? What did they depict? How do they know that we were going to build certain things now? Yeah, you could say because their true state and the things that they were using was to enhance their natural ability. They were able to teleport through the entirety of this construct. Not only that, they were able to access the true point, the true state of time, realizing that time is not just linear, seeing the potentials of things where they were going to be. Yeah. Not only that, as well as they were able to do telekinesis and all those things. All the things that you think are airy fairy and mystical and just make believe, this was the past. You could say magic or whatever, but it's not magic. It's just your true state, your true home. All of the different races that have always been here are still here, some of them, anyways.
All of the races are still here. Where are they?
So this is where you go into some of them are actually physically still here, like you could say in the land masses of what we have. You a lot of the places that the USA and other countries are at war with is also part of some of the different races that are there too. Yeah, suppressing some of the giants that still exist. And I believe it's Iran too. A lot of some of the races there, those are where some of the giants still exist in there, and you'll find a lot of the wars happening there as well. It's a war that's not just for the purpose of what you think that war is, and a lot of these races too are on the other land masses that is you could say beyond the poles. Yeah, so a lot of the other entities are beyond the poles too. Um, but when coming out to this was something that I found. I think this was I was trying to find something to illustrate the waters above, and this is something that I found. I believe this comes from a commercial too, and so it's not like this, but it is because you end up hitting when you come out, you end up hitting this. It's like you could feel a solidness to it, like the firmament, but your soul could pass right through it, and then you're entering this water, or and then from that water you're on what's considered the another realm or the second heaven, etc. Because it's sort of I don't know exactly how that works in that way, but when you're out of your body and you pass through the waters above, you enter a different the other heavens, second, third, etc. And that's why I've showed it before, like layers, because that's another way to visualize it too. Even when you pierce past or you go past the other, on the so instead of just going vertically up, you go horizontally as well. You're still accessing another form of heaven, but it's slightly off of frequency and tune. And when you think of that, you may think like ice wall here, ice wall there, but it's not necessarily like that. The best way that I could show you, when you end up passing through, let's just say if you're going horizontally and you go to the ice wall and you go beyond the ice wall as well, it's interesting because what happens is sort of what this scene in this movie, Narnia, has depicted. And this is the only thing that I could find that could best illustrate it. Because when you pass through the firmament and the waters beyond, the waters are acting as this portal passageway into the second heaven. And this is where you'll find beyond the ice walls too. You're going to get a lot of your what is considered your galactic races because that's the celestial heaven, the second heaven, and you're getting a lot of what the beings and craft, and a lot of these craft are consciousness craft. They're based off the consciousness and the soul as well, fusing what pieces of technology too. And this is what it's like when you pass through. into other realms. Waters open up to you, and you access the other heavens within this construct. Total of 12. And so, and there's better things that I could have probably made to illustrate this. But let's just say when you are at the corner, at the end of this realm, beyond the ice wall, when you go to a certain point, you're going to hit that firmament, and it is going to be displayed as water to you. And you could go past it, and you could go in it. I don't know physically if they've had technology trying to pierce past it. This is where you get the Operation Fistbowl, and also even Admiral Byrd has access to it. I'm not sure how that actually happened, but when you go past a certain point, you will reach the water barrier firmament, and when you go into this portal, yeah, and you access the other heavens
There's
and the other
stories.
places.
Yeah, there's stories of people in Antarctica, secondhand stories, of course, where they got to the firmament, but it was frozen. It wasn't water. They were drilling through what they call sky ice, blue ice. Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying before. Like I remember feeling too, like there's like, if you listen to what I've said in the maybe like 5 minutes ago, you do touch this physical barrier, but then when you're in your soul, you pass through that physical barrier, and then it's like you're going through this water like
Okay.
this. Yeah, and that's sort of what that's what it feels like.
Is the construct made to keep us contained for our
No,
experience?
no, no, no. So
No.
this is
Okay.
where this is where you go into the past. This is where you get the wars in heavens, in the war of man in the fall. So in the past, all of this was open. Like there wasn't necessarily an ice wall. It was lush, sort of what you see in this. Let's just say it wasn't like ice. It was just you reach a point, and then you get to the certain point in the entirety of this construct, and then you're able to pass through. And this is where all of the angels, the seraphims, what people call gods, the angelic races, the everything was here, and they were able to freely traverse into all of these places. They were freely able to traverse the entirety of this construct. They had even pyramids in the halls of Amente too. The pyramids actually, the pyramids and the portals open up through certain words. Like I wrote this down too. This is something that I was told, and I'm not necessarily sure if I should even share this, but there's certain words as well that were used in the past, like is Shune Dune Unthais was one of the words that were used to activate certain portals to basically walk into in the pyramids to then take you from, let's just say, America to Australia to another point within the entirety of this construct, another heaven. And this is where you find the 12 stargates. This is where you get the 12 stargates. Yeah. I'll share my screen again.
Okay.
But the 12 stargates are, you could say, the main portal points to access more realms within this place. And they've mapped out the certain frequencies, like they've mapped out the stars. Um,
Is
let
that
me,
is that the
yep.
purpose of the pyramids all over the world? Is there portals or
They,
because
they, they were held based off of what I've seen in Access so far. They were held as information as well, like information, energy devices. You could say energy devices.
okay.
But yeah, portal access points as well. And you'll see that through this.
Yeah.
Let me go back.
Were you shown how all of these things were built? Were they built by man or were they just created by souls?
Correct. It's not by man, no. So it's not like they were picking these structures up. It was the souls in and of themselves with the so say for instance, the galactic races, the ships that they use are
Mhm.
consciousness ships. So even when you go back into a lot of the, let's just say, the higher beings in their station, they would have a lot of staves. Why would they carry staves? And why would there be crystals on those staves? Because all this was to enhance their natural abilities physically. Yeah. So they were able to, like I said, not their bodies were the spacecrafts. They were able to take themselves into the entirety of everything, and they show this to you in movies and stuff like that to try to remind you, and people are like, "Oh, this is just entertainment," but it's not. Like the bodies were the ultimate piece of technology. You look at Project Looking Glass. What is Project Looking Glass? That's a piece of technology to look into time. You could say created by Tesla. Yeah. And this technology is created by metal, copper, crystal. Yeah. And if a piece of metal could access the future, if a piece of metal could do it, why do you not think that your body can do it? Your body is the ultimate form of technology. And it was that way in the past history. And you could say everybody was walking among this earthly realm as gods, in a sense, because your body is the ultimate technology. You could see potential futures even when you come out of your body as well. So the bodies were able to do this, and the certain things that they had were able to, and they were enhancing these abilities, and this was the creation of a lot of these structures too.
Jumping straight into part 4, Darius is revealing the eerie similarities between the sound of thunder beneath the firmament, as described in the Bible, and the sound of a balloon popping inside a sealed container. The resemblance is undeniable, and it might just be some of the clearest evidence yet that we're living under a dome.
This is also something too for people to understand lightning. So what I said before, we do have a firmament, and what is this firmament? It's, you could say it's a glassy or like a fixed or firm object. So when you listen to lightning, so even when you look here, you could hear what thunder sounds like just naturally. And when you understand that this is an enclosed system, then you also realize that look what, what a balloon inside of a enclosed sort of enclosed system sounds the same.
Yeah, I love that.
And there's so many things to add here, but it's just like, man, it's when people have been lied to for so long, very, very difficult to tell them truth. And this is why I was covering Project Looking Glass as well. And this is where I wanted to get into that your body is the ultimate form of technology, even from the past as well. Yeah, we use technology here. The reason why we're using so much technology the way that we're doing is because we have become so dormant in a sense as well. And yeah, because we are supposed to be that. And just to let you know too, even when you go into the Freemasonry too, the 33 degrees, guess what they're teaching you? I'll tell you what, they're not teaching you this. They're not teaching you this. What do you think they're teaching you? They're teaching you the corners in the firmament, the plane. Also, a lot of the lost civilizations too. It was all, wasn't that long ago.
So do all
Hmm.
33rd degree Freemasons know the earth is flat?
I would say a lot of them. I don't know if it's just the 33, but a lot of them do because even when you go into this image here, whoops, hold on. What is that?
Yeah.
They're showing you. Yeah, they're showing you this. This is very secretive information for a reason. The reason why this information is so secret is because once you realize who you are and who we all are, it's game over.
It's game over for the controllers. They can't control us.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely
The
not.
fear goes
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Everything.
So, one of the first lies is that death is a real thing. Yeah. And people believe in that. And you could say one of the first two lies is where we live on and then death. But, I would say death is probably most important because when you lie about that, then you think that, oh, that the universe is dictating consciousness and your consciousness as soul is not dictating the universe. So therefore, you eventually die, the Big Bang Theory, and eventually you know, just you don't exist. And when people realize that you do continue to exist, well, where do you go? And from that point, where do you go? And then what's the mission? And then the second thing, if they could lie to you about where you live within, If they lied about that foundation of where you are, then they could lie to you about absolutely everything. If they could convince you and lie to you about where you live on, then they could also convince you that a man is a woman and a woman is a man. And they've done that very successfully. They
Really?
don't, if they could convince you of that, then they could also convince you that somehow injecting yourself with poison is a cure to the poison that was never within you. And if they could convince you of that, then they could convince you of going down a path of walking away and forsaking your truth and your love and your soul, walking that path into an opposite direction. And then they could convince an entire population to do things in a wicked way, even though they're unaware of that which they're doing. But they still do those things, unaware that just because they're not doing anything when you sense something is wrong is actually supporting the very evil that's doing it. If you see something that's wrong, your compliance in that wrongness of not doing anything about it,
Right.
you become the very evil that you say that you fight against, or you step so far out of love. And they've convinced people to step away from their true home, their true state, and
What?
forsaking that.
Yeah. So
And that should not be done.
this I want to use the right word. This situation we're in where there is so much depravity, so much deception, there are people that are pushing this agenda. So what motivates these people to push such an evil, if you want to label it, agenda?
Control is a drug that can be very addictive. No different from when someone's on drugs. It becomes very addictive. You can't reason with them. Yeah. So control of this place has been very addictive to them. They've become so sick and so far out of love with they're addicted to control.
These
That's
ruling families that have been ruling for generations here, when they go back to the other side, do they quickly come back and rejoin the family?
well, a lot of the people that are actually in control, they've never died.
Okay.
Yeah. So the bodies are supposed to be living for biblical ages, 900, 1,000 years old, even more. Yeah.
Okay, that
So
makes sense.
a lot of them are here still with the full memory of everything. This is also coming from the experience and things that I've seen. Even if the body does die, it's not actually in the way that you would think that they're dying because they have the technology to take the soul. You could leave your soul anyways, but they have the ability to copy the signature of a certain body into another body, take the soul out of the body through tables, project it into another body as well. So,
All right,
the yeah.
got it. That sounds crazy to some people. It sounds like, yeah, it makes perfect sense to me. Maybe that means I'm crazy. Um, so
Well, not necessarily either, because even for people that think that's crazy, understand what is a replicator? If you look into cloning, cloning is a form of replicating. Now, they have replicated a dog, and anybody could look this up. If they could replicate and clone a dog, that means they could clone food, replicate food, and they could also do that to the physical body. If they could do it to already a living animal, they could do it to the body. So if you are underneath the false misconception or false belief that this cannot be done, then ask yourself, how could they clone a dog? And if they could clone a dog, what makes you think that they wouldn't be able to do that to a human being? And there's so much more to go down with that too, because even when you go into the certain things that they could, yeah, I'll leave it there unless you want to go down in that direction, but I'll stop there.
no,
Yep.
that's good, and we can that can be another for another day. Our world leaders at the weirdest times go to Antarctica, disappear for a couple of days, and then they reappear at the base and they go back home. Where are they going?
Well, the only thing that I would want to share there is there's a reason why a lot of the people in power go to New Zealand too, New Zealand and also Antarctica, because a lot of the bases are there too, a lot of the technology. Yeah, a lot of the technology is stored there
Anything
in
you can
Antarctica.
share?
Well, it's a technology you're talking about replicators, repairing technology, cloning technology. One of the things that I saw too, I'll share my screen real quick. I remember targeting Antarctica a long time ago, and this is not 100%, but this is also what one of the facilities look like, where they have the original body still in stasis, the giants, the angels, etc. And they're doing this through technology too. And this could be out there, but I'm telling you that this information is also being released even by whistleblowers. Yeah.
Eric Hecker, who's the Antarctic whistleblower.
A lot of whistleblowers are coming out even from a lot of different angles saying this. Yeah.
Hmm.
But that's sort of what I saw similar to, I would say this maybe about 70% accurate of what it would look like, the cloning facilities that they have, or not necessarily even the cloning facilities, but the how the bodies are in stasis and the technology, the vastness of technology that they have. Because you are looking at that point too, directed energy weapons to try to convince people. Like I said, the field all around us could be influenced. It could be influenced by me, you, and a collective amount of people. And so they have technology too to try to influence certain frequencies within the field. Yeah. So,
I've been seeing research for many, many years, and there's a lot of researchers that have been talking about that the governments. When I say governments, the ones that are trying to rule over us, that they use frequencies to make people crazy, make people angry, make people fight, make people illogical. Do you have any information on that?
well, yeah, because that's directed energy weapons. So it's no different from this for people that don't believe this to be true, and that's fine if you don't. But like I said before, you will hear this. If it's not for me, the information will start to come out, and it already is, and it will be presented to you. And there's some information too that is you'll hear me state many times, I'll just leave it there and I don't state it because sometimes it's not better even spoken about because you're going to figure it out anyways. And some things, hearing it from me won't even be received properly, and therefore it's not even worth saying. So the there are inside of government facilities, inside of certain locations, there are technologies and let's say directed energy weapons that are targeted at certain people to disrupt their natural flow of their electromagnetic field of the physical body. Because once you disrupt this is what accelerates aging as well. So it's to disrupt all of these natural things, take you out of sync with your heart. And it's so easy to understand this. Listen to, I'm just trying to give a very extreme example here. Listen to Screamo. Okay.
I don't know what they
Li-
call it.
li- okay. I think it's Scream. Listen to that type of music for an hour and feel how that changes you. Then for another hour, immediately change that into Beethoven music, yeah, or other forms of that type of music. And automatically it's going to change instantly. You will feel the drastic shift in your entire body start to change because the very frequency of that which is being played is also programming your cells as well. They've done this with water. Water could be programmed. This is the most basic, fundamental, you could say preschool knowledge of that water could be programmed scientifically because they've done so many studies on it. They've even done the rice experiment too. Water could be programmed. And what is your body and what is the cells? You could say your blood is a form of water. So what you listen to will start to program your cells as well. What you believe in, what you think, and what you speak will dictate how your cells express themselves. Even the environment of that which you are and where you are will influence how your cells express themselves. And this is even proven as well. In certain environments where people are put, their bodies start to manifest certain things, or if they're put in a stressful situation, the body will start to manifest certain things. They will become their environment if they don't have the strong enough will to break past all of that as well. So there are also sound waves that the human ear can't hear, and they project these sound waves at individuals. And if you can't hear it, then the only way to realize it is to first step into who you are, because who you are in your love, your soul, could pierce through all of these frequencies. But when your electromagnetic field is already affected and lower and weakened, then it's very easy to keep that state weakened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So
always
this is
say
not,
if you keep
yeah.
yourself in a high vibration, but there's probably a better way to say it. If you keep yourself in a field of love from your heart, it neutralizes anything anyone else is trying to do. Is that fair?
Yeah. 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 Yes, absolutely. I mean, there are limitations in terms of, someone could physically come here and harm my physical body.
Sure.
Yeah. But, once you're in that state, you automatically understand when you are constantly in a state where you have been sick your entire life, you think that's normal. And right now you could say we live in a sick society. Yeah. The very fact that we have to pay to live in a place of that which we were born, that is created, and we are the center of creation itself. That's a very sick society. That we have to pay for water, have to pay for food. This are all things of a sick society. Everybody's basic necessities of life should not be something that they need to survive for. And they've put people into such a state of survival, of taking away these basic necessities of life where people believe that this is normal. And this is why I've stated before, as long as money exists, there's always going to be people that have and have not. And any form of money, any form of it moving into new systems, then you are perpetuating forms of enslavement. And we're all in the system as well. But it's just like we are so much bred into this sick society where people think things are normal when they are actually not normal. They're done out of things of not love, people not understanding what love is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
how do you feel? I know that you've become more public over the last few years. Do you see the awakening accelerating? I do.
Yeah, yeah. It's going to continue to.
Yeah.
This isn't awakening based off of what you would hear in a lot of the new age communities where it's like, oh, we're all going to awaken. No, this is
Right.
true awakening to who we all are. What happens is what I've seen is that this all knowledge, all information comes out. And you could say, you've been doing it. I'm now doing it. Whistleblowers are now doing it as well. I'm doing it from the state of seeing it from the out of body state. So, it's
Awesome.
the, this place, the entirety of this place, like all suffering will cease when things are all when everything becomes revealed to people. And that is the most important thing, I would say. Yeah.
And everyone always says this all of their lives. It feels like it's imminent. It feels like it's imminent, but it feels like it's imminent. It feels like there's going to be massive changes happening in the very near future. Not that I'm not looking for dates.
Mhm.
I'm not looking for anything, but am I off base?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you are correct with that. It's and I don't necessarily want to give because I don't know a exact date or anything like that.
Okay.
But a lot of things are going to be disclosed, and with that disclosure is going to come, you know, basic things like health, true meaning of health. Then it's going to go into, contact again, and it's not necessarily from space,
It's
you
from
know. So,
here. It's from this space.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. And this will eventually lead people to a path. I know the conclusion of it all, the end point of it. This leads people to a path where they remember it all again. Their bodies are, we're walking here in the Garden of Eden once more.
On this side, we'll
Yeah,
remember.
absolutely. Yes.
Okay.